Redditors who make more than 100k per year, what do you do? I own 1 BP and 3 Exxon gas stations here in South Florida. Not much prestige in what I do since it's me working inside gas stations all day. And always having to be looked down at because it's such an unassuming business. One time a lady told her kid in front of my employees, college students, that he should go to college or else he would become like them. I have an undergrad degree in biology who chose to go into the oil industry rather than pharmacy school and make 270-300k a year. I traded respect professional career for money. And sometimes I regret it. My base salary is about 120k a year. But I probably make closer to 130k because of shifts I pick up here and there. Being a pharmacist is a pretty good deal. Only 6 years of college and great salaries to start. I can't stand listening to the older pharmacists who complain about having to stay an hour off the clock to get all their stuff done. You make more than 6 figures working only 40 HRS week. Pharmacist it is. Knew a guy who pulled over $500 k year spray painting lawns green with biodegradable paint for realtors during a drought. Was busy as hell 6 months a year. Then had a crap ton of money to play around with in the winter. If you work hard in a niche market, you can do well. Orchestra conductor 10 years out of school. Travel quite a bit for concerts, last year alone included Moscow, Prague, London, Washington DC, Vienna, Salzburg, San Francisco, etc. Do you insist on being called maestro at all times? Air traffic control. This may be the scariest post in this thread. Web software developer. Built full products end to end. Ran teams. Been doing it for 10 years. Sick of politics. And everything. Bored as hell. Edit. No degree. Nearly dropped out of high school. Self-taught. Live in Australia. Started working post-bust in 2000. Another degreeless 100k plus software developer chiming in. IT security director for a mid-sized company. I went to college for IT. Found a niche in security a couple years after college. Got certifications. Hopped companies a couple of times. And worked my way up the chain. I work in the oil field. I'm single and I don't have kids. I'm gone so much for work it's ruined more than one relationship. I'm almost considering being poor again. Edit. I do make that much. But it isn't worth the trouble. Just work really hard for 2 or so years. Save heaps. And you'll come out the other side with lots of money and then you can think about relationships again. I'm a psychologist. I have worked exclusively with people with intellectual disabilities and mental health disorders for the past 20 years. When I graduated from school, I started in organizational management. I learned that there were so many us clones in business and industry. So respecialized in clinical psychology out of the desire to help those who cannot help themselves. Best decision I ever made. There are still plenty of us clones impinging on the rights of people I support. But I got this. Freelance video producer. I edit video and create motion graphic work for my clients, who are mainly advertising agencies. I also take work from other production companies who subcontract to me. I work in Nick and make comfortably over $100 k. I did have a bigger office back in 2008 and employed 6 people. Billing over $400 k that year. But the recession took care of that. I could make more if I put in the effort to find more clients and fill in the 50% of the year that I don't work. But I'm not really enthusiastic about this work anymore and I'm working on another business pitch. I don't have a college degree or any formal training. I got into the business by learning on bootleg Adobe apps at home and basically bullshitting my way in. It wasn't hard. But I'd worked in sales for a long time so it came easy for me. I'm a technical writer. I work freelance through an agency. A lot of bid and tender work. Pay rate is usually $100 $150 per hour once you've got a couple of years experience up your sleeve. I basically only really work about 4-5 months out of the year. Use the rest of the time on personal writing projects and traveling. I also work as a ghostwriter, which can be hit and miss. Some years I've taken in $200. 000 plus from royalties. Other years have been rather lulled, dependent on how well they sell. Software developer at Google. I teach martial arts. I have been taking martial arts since I was 4. I am 28 now and manage a school. I am not the owner, but I make a base pay plus commission on how well the school does. I went to college and studied business management but never graduated. I have been with the same company for almost 11 years. Last year I made 103,000. Not bad for not having a degree and working with kids. I love when parents at the school ask, "So is this your only job?" My wife is mad at me because I am not mingling with her family. I'll be back to answer any other questions. Whoa. I always assumed martial arts instructors made tea. So going through this thread, none are professions that I am working towards. So be the first. Joined military at early age, 17. Knocked out 3 degrees during 23 years of service. Retired and came back as a government employee, GG 14, and invested wisely, average 16% of my gross income, during the entire time. Current yearly income equals $220k a year. I'm retiring again in 6 years and have plans to open a winery vineyard somewhere out west, my last job. I'll chime in. I make just over $110k in a low cost of living area. But it's taken a lot of steps for me to get here. I got an engineering degree and started in the mid-90s at $36k, really low even then. I know. I'm with my 4th company since then, but in the same industry. You can make big salary jumps by switching companies as long as you never reveal your current salary. I'm now in sales. It's very technical and I have totally cashed in on my experience in previous jobs as a field engineer, factory engineer, and applications engineer. Stress is very high. And as others have said, you won't really get anywhere unless you get out of your comfort zone. I'm out of mine every day. But it's like working out. There's pain but you grow. However, after winning some nice contracts for the company and gaining some confidence, I like what I'm doing. I work from home and make my own travel schedule. Recently one of my competitors offered a 20% salary increase to work for them. Mining engineer. University engineering degree with co-op. I only work 6 months out of a year on a rotation. My dad told me a story about when he was my age. His father said he will only amount to working in a fast food job. Well, he was right. He started at Dairy Queen on the opening team. He now runs the most successful Dairy Queen in his district and is clearing 100k. Working at a fast food job at age 58. So he's the Dairy King. Attorney. Graduated in top 1% of my class. I make less per hour than almost anyone else in this thread. Edit. To clarify, I make 6 figures but I spent over 3,100 hours in the office last year. Also, I went to a school ranked in the 15-75 range on the East Coast and have $120k in debt. Don't go to law school. I am an equity analyst at an investment bank. I make $350 400k a year. Edit. This post really blew up my inbox. For those looking for more details on what I do, see my prior posts. This is an alt account to my main one for anonymity reasons. Clever username. Database administrator working on Oracle and DB2 doing standard tech DBA stuff. Performance tuning. Backup recovery. It's threads like these that make me realize how lost I am. I'm a stripper. I make between 75 and 120k depending on how much I work. I get to pick which weeks I work and where I work. I usually work from 8 or 9 PM to 2 or 3 AM. Edit. Oh wow. Went to the gym and came back to this. I shall answer your questions. Strippers never disappoint. You have to keep in mind that salary is relative to geographic location. For instance, making $70,000 you're in small city USA could be more monetarily wise, i.e. take you farther than $100 you're in Manhattan. In small city USA rent may be $500 to $800 month, while in Manhattan rent may be $2 plus a month. If you move from small city USA to Manhattan, you may have to make $120 plus it to maintain the same standard of living. I make $110 K in atomic pathology lab management and live on the Upper East Side in New York City. I found a postage stamp size apartment for $2,400. But it isn't just the rent that is expensive in New York City. Groceries, gas, parking spots, $400 month is the cheapest. Restaurants, taxes, etc. are all more expensive. I also live in the zip code that has a very high per capita income in the country. So I am one of the poorest in the area. Can't afford a condo $700,000. Houses don't exist here. So, in a week, I moved to Charlotte, NC with a job at a similar income. So I expect to live like a millionaire. I have a PhD in chemical engineering. $100K is in the bag within the first few years of employment, depending on the industrial sector. If you head to academia, you'll get there if you make it past the tenure application. I make $220K a year as a senior designer for a tech company in Silicon Valley. The company is very flat. I would be a creative director or senior art director in most other companies. It breaks down to $150 K salary, around $20 K in yearly bonuses which are performance based and may be higher or lower, and around $50 K in company stock each year at current market value. I got into profession from a Photoshop class in high school. No college degree. In a lot of self-teaching. Striving to improve. Luck. And hard work to try and reach the top of my industry. My first full-time gig was an amp. LT. $30 K. Edit. Whoa. Will try my best to answer comments. I won't be giving out any personally identifiable info or my portfolio. Sorry. Homeless beggar. Hyperinflation humor. Actuary. I design and value life insurance contracts. I have a useless degree in music that I got from BC in 1996. Best thing about being an actuary is you really just need to study on your own and pass the exams. So much better than university system. Edit. I see people are being more specific. I make $125K plus bonus. It took me 5 years to pass all the actuarial exams. I passed all of them on the first try. Back to back. Took a year off in the middle. I have a wife and 2 little kids. 2. I work in the NE. So I do pretty well comparatively. I changed careers in my early 30s. So I'm a little behind where I should be financially. I've changed jobs from coast to coast to get promotions and raises. My starting salary with one exam in 2006 was $40K. Most companies give you raises for passing each exam. Importer-exporter. My dad makes $200 K plus with gas stations. Yes, we are Indian. Yes, we eat curry. Edit for more info. There are 4 total. He has 25% ownership in one. $5,000 month for doing nothing at all is not bad. He has 33% in another. $7,000 month for doing nothing at all. He has 66% in 2 at which he works day night 7 days a week, which average $20,000 month. These numbers are revenue, not profit. BTW. It's not the gas that gets the money. It's the convenience store part that makes it rain. Also, his stock market account is worth a pretty penny, and we have 2 rental homes which do $2,000 per month combined. Edit 2. Insert cliche phrase about being my most upvoted comment here. Edit 3. This is turning into a mini ammo for me. If you have any questions regarding anything, just PM me. I ate some curry last night for dinner too and I'm not Indian. My father makes over 100k a year. He started own company 10 years ago and is still only person in it. He sells different kind of joysticks, cameras, sensors, etc. for tractors, cranes, trucks, armored vehicles, tanks, etc. His work seems easy and he doesn't seem so stressed. I convinced a pharmacy student to marry me with no prenup. Now I'm a stay-at-home dad and trophy husband. My dad made over 300k. He worked as a VP in a major bank. He taught me two very important things. 1. You should always be making more money than you were 2 years ago. If you're not moving forward in a company, move on. Public school teacher here. I have made less every year for the past 7. Just felt like complaining. Edit. Wow, took a little nap and this exploded. For your information, I have masters plus 30. 14 years. Love my job. Enjoy just being a mom in the summer but end up working a big part of it for my job. But I make around 55k. Rather EMTs made more than me. And do love a good mocha. Edit 2. I am not sure I should make a ton more than I do now. I just want to stop making less. Reading this thread, all I can think of is wow. I haul bulk liquid nitrogen in the Alberta oil patch. Got the job through a friend of the family. I work 15 on and 6 off. Average about 10,000 kms of travel per month. Stay in hotels between 100 and 175 nights a year. And usually work 12 to 16 hours a day. The nitrogen is used for pressurizing a frac, or purging lines and equipment either in the field or in a plant facility, or cleaning out lifting fluid out of a well. My truck weighs, when full, 46,500 kgs, or 105,000 lbs. Also, where do you keep your valuables? Oh, and what's the combination to your safe? Don't talk about safes. I get frustrated. Speaking of safes. Nice try IRS. My entire household income is less than $23k a year. This thread depresses me. Software engineer. Although I only make slightly more than $100k per year. Life is hard. Software engineer in Italy here. I make 16-17k euros per year. Law. 7 years of higher ed plus lots of student loans. I'm the touring DJ for an electronic band. I fly around, get drunk, and push buttons. Who here can help me get a job? A. In Colombia. First you get the sugar. Then you get the money. Then you get the power. I originally worked in intelligence. Most recently for a private military company in Iraq. I put away about 210k on average in 2011 and 2012 each. I quit and am now going into finance, so I expect to eclipse those figured fairly rapidly. I am 26 years old and when I earned 210k all I had was a high school diploma. Edit. I've considered doing an AMA but was never sure if people would be interested. Edit 2. I'll do an AMA either tonight or tomorrow. I hope it can provide some direction or inspiration to young guys that are in a similar position to where I was at 18. Or at the very least an interesting story. I'm an operator at a nuclear power plant. The money is great. But you lose your soul in the process. Lots of stress. It feels like a prison with all the armed guards walking around. Rotating shift hours and way too much overtime required. I used to believe in nuclear power. But I now have a hard time defending the pros of this form of energy. What this thread has taught me. Tons of these jobs aren't worth the trouble. Money equals happiness. I am pretty close to that number. No college, Just a deep love for graphic design, front-end web development, JavaScript, and problem solving. Plot twist. OP is a gold digger. I put the 2 scoops of raisins into Raisin Bran. My stepdad, before he retired, made about $171k per year. He was executive vice president at a bank. My mom makes about $135k a year as a city manager. Not the answer to your question, but I wanted to say that I work a respectable white-collar job with decent hours and I only have a 10th grade formal education. Read. Educate yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations. The secret of my success. My mom makes somewhere around $115,000 a year working at Toyota. I don't totally understand what she does in her job, but it has something to do with human resources or managing her people in HR. How she got there isn't that different from what you'd expect. She climbed up the corporate ladder. She got an entry-level job at Toyota while working on her master's degree. Oh, and while she was doing all that, I was born. How she managed a job, schooling, and 2 kids I'll never understand. She's pretty much a super mom. Anyway, she graduated college and continued working at Toyota. And whenever an upper-level management position opened up, she'd interview for it. And many times she'd get it. Until eventually she got to the position she's in now. I can't remember the official name for her job, national something. You should talk to your mom about her job sometime. I make around $200k per year. I'm 30 years old and work as a mid-level manager for an oil company. My work pretty much consists of overseeing development of new oil fields. It's interesting and not very taxing, so I sure hope the business as such lasts despite my concerns for the environment. 200k is the new 100k. I print out the letter K in various fonts. I make $25k a month using this simple trick found by a local mom. Man, doctors must hate you too. Why are there so many people in this thread saying things like it? No one WHO makes 100k. There are plenty of professional workers on Reddit. And making 100k per year isn't some absurd amount. A lot of my family members, father, uncles, aunts, etc., make over 100k. And I myself hope that at some point after graduating from college, I will move up to making that amount of money. It's interesting to hear about what professions and life paths have led to financial success for people. I work at Pierce & Pierce on Wall Street. Murders and executions. Mainly. Design consultant for major projects, a multi-billion. I earned you.I 120,000 from my day rate and a further you.I 40,000 from profit sharing and the consultancy firm I'm part of. I did my degree part-time through an apprenticeship scheme. Worked a few permanent roles as a developer hardware engineer. Then got into projects as a designer and worked up from there. 190k insurance underwriting with 7 years experience. But I live in San Francisco, so I'm the poorest guy around. I get paid $300 every morning for letting a man pee on my face. The fresh sheets is the real deal here. Programmer at Amazon, Canada.